Hello, everyone. Welcome. Elephant Mountain Festival would love to acknowledge with gratitude the land that we gather on is the unceded territory of the Sinaiaks, Tunaha, the Syilx, and is home to the Métis and many diverse Indigenous persons. We honor and respect their role as storytellers and knowledge keepers on these lands and waters. Thanks, everyone, for coming. My name's Anna Purcell. I'm a longtime EMLF enthusiast, sometimes board member, lover of all things wordy, and I am so excited to see you all here in person tonight, all of your beautiful in-person faces. Oh, it's so good. We call tonight a speakeasy. It's not really a speakeasy. Nothing illicit is happening this evening. You didn't have to come in through the kitchen or say a password at the door or anything like that. But one thing that speakeasies did in the past that I didn't know was play a role in integration. People of all races could gather and mingle in ways that weren't easily available to them otherwise. And women also found for themselves more freedom to flex their entrepreneurial spirit as they opened speakeasies themselves. And I see a very small echo in the joy of that commingling today, after a couple of years of not really being able to meet with each other and that being kind of a fraught thing on lots of levels. Here we are. We're not in prohibition anymore of any COVID sort. We can hang out, but I do have a couple of prizes to remind people of how far we've come. So if someone could tell me whose birthday is closest to today? Maybe that one. Yeah, when's your birthday? Sunday? Anyone closer than Sunday? No? Okay, you win the first prize. Are you ready? All right. So this was maybe my weirdest pandemic purchase. I don't know why I thought this was going to save me in a pandemic. That's your prize. Enjoy it. It's not as delicious as you remember, trust me. Yeah. Oh, they get even better, Bonnie. They get even better. So who drove the furthest to get here today? The farthest. Where are you coming from? Anyone drive further than that? Montrose? Okay. Okay, are you ready for your prize? Okay, so this is a sourdough jar with no sourdough in it because I killed it. Sadly, Oliver Cromwell passed on, but here is a jar for Oliver Cromwell too, if you care to test your sourdough prowess. All right. Thank you, Bonnie, bringing the somber morality to the moment. It's true, maybe, you know. And what about who got up latest today? Who wants to admit it?
10 a.m.
Anyone later than 10? No? No one who wants to fess up to it anyways. A woman after my own heart. Here's your prize. That remains to be seen. That's a good question. So, let the easy speaking flow. Thanks to the Prestige for having us, and to Samara from Notably Books at the back there on hand with the presenters' books for sale. So here is how it's going to work. Many of you have come to this event before. You know the drill, but if you're new, this author wine pairings is a festival favorite used to celebrate local and locally connected artists and creators. So feel free, if you like, to make a wine buddy so we can minimize congestion over there. If you want, you know, you can go up with your glass and somebody else's glass. And I'll mention the author's name, ask you to go collect your wine, and then Anne de Grace will read the wine pairing, we'll toast the artist, and then be treated to words of exceptional vintage. So this is how it's going to work. So our first presenter will be Ellen Burt. So now is your time, wine buddies, to venture up to the bar and grab your first Your first glass of wine. Yeah, a taste of wine, your first taste of wine. Modest glass of wine, I don't know. To introduce our authors and wines, please join me in welcoming Anne de Grace, esteemed author, Nelson Cultural Ambassador, the very Annie of Pack Rat Annie's, long-standing EMLF board member, and maybe most hallowed of all, retired librarian. Those nerd angels sent from democratic access to information heaven to make all of our lives better. She reads, she writes, she knows her way around a good wine. I give you wry, thoughtful, articulate, compassionate Anne de Grace.
Thank you, Anna. That was the best intro ever. It's great to see you all here. So great to be here in person. In considering a wine that would best pair with poet, memoirist, and spoken word artist Ellen Burt, it makes sense to look to the life experiences that inform the writing, and then find an experienced grape, or more appropriately, a grape experience to help tell the tale. Now, Ellen first moved to Johnson's Landing in the 1960s after coming north with her draft dodger boyfriend. He drifted on, but she stayed, smitten with the land. Over the years of wood splitting, cow milking, weed smoking, and more than likely wine quaffing, there were kids and lovers, good times and hard times. And when I think of that reality, I imagine a heady richness. Think of the scent of wild roses, a warm pear fallen in the long grass, a taste of water straight from the creek. Things that could inspire poetry. These are the ingredients for a Kootenai literary love affair, with clothing optional. If Ellen was drinking wine in those days, it was likely elderberry or maybe dandelion paired with the hum of evening mosquitoes on a cabin porch. But tonight, we'll pair Ellen Burt with Skimmerhorn's Kootenai Crush, which is what's in your glass, not only because Ellen's idea of perfection is an orchid in an old-growth forest, which sounds like a Kootenai Crush to me, but also because this grape experience brings together the tastes of Ortega, Gewürztraminer, and Pinot Gris that also offer a heady richness. Think crisp pear and rose petals on the nose, and a hint of oranges, such as might be transported at the end of a rare town day in the back of a 1968 Datsun. Things that could inspire another glass. These are the ingredients for a Kootenai libation love affair, possibly also with clothing optionals, because we are in the Kootenays after all. We'll just head to the beach. Those heady hippie days inspired Ellen to put words to page in two astonishing memoirs, When the Path is Not a Straight Line and What Forever Feels Like. But she's also filled the air with words, because who could ever stop her? She's been a frequent champion at Nelson's Poetry Slam events, embracing spoken word as an art form sufficient to make an old-growth orchid raise its head to listen. In a glass of Skimmerhorn's Kootenai Crush, apricots, honeydew melon, mango, and quince dance on the palate, and tonight's sampling of Ellen Burt's writing, words, images, insight, and emotion will dance from her lips to our waiting ears. And so we have it. Please lift your glass of Kootenai Crush and join me in a toast to Ellen Burt. To Ellen Burt.
I won't think about the climate today as we ride through town in my Suzuki with the tailpipe welded and the mechanic beside me in the car. I think he's cute with his few words and shy mechanic smile. That kind of man smelling of gear oil always makes my heart turn over. First gear, second gear, third gear. I won't think about the climate today. Won't say we'll all be walking soon, and there goes an electric bike. The moms and the babies are riding them these days. The mom's legs wind round real fast. The baby in the box behind, smiling as the scenery passes. Why doesn't somebody do something for these babies? They don't stand a chance to grow up and ride through lilac-studded streets. I can't even entertain the thought of a date with a man fossilized in the fossil fuel age. Until he speaks. You grow up driving standard? All my life, I say, got my license on my 16th birthday. He's the same age, his grease-stained hands, the veins on his arms, standing like branches of purple history, driving standard at 16, tinkering with cars through the 60s, listening to Elvis and Beach Boys and Buddy Hollies, and driving. Cars are his life. Grew up driving standard, Raised his kids in a garage, proudly brings his grandson there. Hands the kid a wrench where he sits between boxes of auto parts and cars, cars, cars. Songs about cars, girls and cars, convertibles and A&Ws, and drag the gut on Friday night. Drive-in theaters and cars, cars, cars. I have a long history with cars. Mechanics in cars, small men with strong arms, smiling shy, smelling of oil and paint, talking cars. I won't stop driving yet. Window down on a hot summer day, tunes cranked up, road trips, truck stops, coffee and country western stations, music, and cars, cars, cars. Kids on the lap, 4 on the floor, holding hands at each red light. The small tightness in his arms as he shifts. First gear, second gear, third gear. I don't know how to gear down. A whole generation, and we don't know how to gear down, but we've got to gear down. Should be good until fall now. Should be. What would go in the silences, if not the shifting of the motor? The roar of first, the hum of second, the power of third. This is denial. This next one I wrote to explore the concept of being a settler, which I never felt easy about until I started to explore my ancestry. I have to thank the poet Anne Bernice Thomas for the first 3 words of this one. She gave me a way in. I'm made of gardens and sun and rain. I'm made like a plant. I don't thrive indoors. I've made of campfires and flowing stream. I've made of lakeshore and ocean waves. I am tumbled until the sand grinds its way into my pores. My heart is fed by a longing for snow and wind and wild places. My feet are spread from roving mountain ridges. My taste buds crave huckleberries, warmed by the sun. How badly my body wants to claim this land, which is not mine. My skin is white. My skin is white from prairie immigrants. My skin is white from haughty Quakers dressed in gray wool. My skin is white from generations of whitewashing the truth, the theft of land, the enslavement of men and women taken from Africa. I am made of denial of my ancestors' hypocritical ways. Time to reconcile my truth and bring it to this table. My mother's mother rolled her pies with a wooden rolling pin fashioned by a great-great-grandfather generations away on a Nebraska prairie. Farmers on a stolen land, stolen from the Pawnee, Omaha, Otta, Lakota. My father's people were Quakers, white men who professed equality and posed in falsity. Men nurtured by black slaves. Virginia, Maryland, my great-great-great-grandfather owned the woman who suckled him. Quakers, they say, treated their slaves well. I am poisoned by their silences. I am made of lies. Lies are the fabric of my truth. Mistrust and rejection are the tools I carry to reshape myself. I am made for running. Now only my feet are mine. Only my feet feel each day the dirt of home, the warmth of a Kootenai summer, the stream water that flows over them. The lake warms and claims me, touches my ankles. I'm made for here. I'm made for now. Thank you. This is the one about the orchid. This is actually about the forest where I spent most of my life in Johnson's Landing in Argenta. The names in this one are camp names of the protesters. They're not indicative of the actual people that got arrested. 17 people arrested by 50 RCMP, old women, local residents, a legal observer, and a police liaison, taken in trucks and a paddy wagon. One old couple escaped through the woods. Now they're confiscating the possessions. A propane stove, it's a sturdy two-burner, several tents, and a stash of books. Finding the Mother Tree by Suzanne Simard and Keeping the Lake Sway, a whole library in the woods. The chief forester was seen attacking the kitchen with an axe. They're taking the land and the water and the trees and the girl named Pine and the orchid that bloomed on the way to the outhouse. Its roots are broken with the slightest touch. They're taking the trees and the water and the girl named Pine and a woman called Bravery and a man named Cedar who gave us the meditation where we closed our eyes and went on a journey to talk with the mountain. And the mountain spoke back and said with a whole lot of love, "This is a hard thing you're trying to do. It's a hard thing to bridge the gap between the land and the city, the youth and the tired old men, the anger and the heart. This is a hard thing." And now they're taking the trees and the caribou, those reclusive antlered deer who have no place else to go, and lichens that humans will never see. They're taking the wolverine and the fisher and the heron, a wide-winged bird who makes its nest in a giant tree. They're taking it all, and I will make it hard for them, for the logger, the company, the government. They can't lie to us anymore. If I have to live in a police state, then let them arrest me. Let my old body do some good. Let them handcuff me, rip me from the mountain. Just don't take the trees. It doesn't have to be this hard. Let them learn love. In Indigenous languages, the trees are called the other people. I belong to that forest. Handcuff me. Just don't take this fire that burns inside, this fire of anger. That's a sacred fire. Thank you. What will I have to give up next? First was my left foot, my right knee, my agile body, my youthful face. Now it's my teeth. What can I give up and still stay living? What is this door through which I'm passing? Must I give up passion? How long has it been since I last said those three words? I'm hanging on to not saying like a drowning man in the ocean. I'm going down without saying. What I really want to do is to shout to all of them, my mother, my kitty, my dog, an old tree in our backyard, how much I've loved. My first love was a shy country boy. We went hunting for squirrels. My best friend in high school was a short, red-haired female bundle of power. How hard I loved. My bare feet, the leaves in the spring, the dirt in the garden, the deep snow. I want to tell you how much I loved my man, how I slid naked over his clothes, good looks, shouted in his ear, "I'll never give up." Hard love, hurt love, sloppy love, guarded love, grounded love. I dug the earth of our togetherness over and over with a shovel. I watered it, tended it, held it between my fingers, and when it was gone, I loved again. I loved with the urgency of a summer storm beating on a tin roof, the courage of a heroine in a chick flick, the truth of a prisoner with his hands on the Bibles, the crazies and the addicts and the children. I loved them all like an umbrella thirsty for rain. The children. I want to tell you about that children, how much I loved my babies, those tiny bodies wrapped in blue blankets, working at my breast like a round-cheeked bird. Bulky boys in snowshoes and mittens, children running through sprinklers, jumping off logs, splashing in the water. I want you to know they're of my blood. They're tough like their dad. How much I've loved. I've loved with my hands, I've loved with my feet, I've loved with my crotch. But when you get older, those body parts don't work so well anymore. And a person has to find her heart. And the crust around it can be as thick as a corroded water pipe or the bottom of an old tea kettle. What I really want to say is I still love that much. What I really want to tell you is I dream about each of you at night. No one has asked me to give up love. I've seen it in your eyes. You want to know that an old person still loves. I want to tell you an old person still loves. I'm going to tell you an old person loves more.
Thank you so much, Ellen. That was just luscious, beautiful. Thank you. Join me in welcoming Anne back to the stage to introduce Magpie Ulysses, our next presenter.
Okay. So I was unsure if I was going to fess up. Oh, and Robin says, sure. There was a little mishap just right before this event in which an entire case of rosé fell down a set of basement stairs, and not one bottle survived. And it was a lovely small winery, and not one liquor store carried it. So just before we all gathered tonight, I went to the liquor store and found a BC rosé that they had 8 bottles of. It was the only one they had 8 bottles. But it's actually a really good, it's a really lovely wine, and I suspect that we might actually have paired someone with this before. But so then I went into the green room and rewrote Magpie's wine pairing very, very, very quickly, and that's my disclaimer. But I'm so pleased to be pairing a wine with Magpie Ulysses because I am a fan. And Ellen, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I love this event, and I love hearing everybody's words. So. If there is one poet who can embrace rigmarole for the opportunities it presents, it's Magpie Ulysses. That's because Magpie is a performance poet and storyteller to be reckoned with. Through her edgy, clever wordplay, this artist reckons with pretty much everything. So how do you pair a wine with that? And a rosé, for that matter. Like traditionally, rosés are our second wine of the evening. They tend to be gentle fermentation, suggestive of warm hearts and sweet words. How indeed. First, a bit about Magpie. An activist at heart, Magpie tackles the hard stuff, the human stuff, the messy stuff, including climate change, addictions, the working class struggle. If it's tooth gnashy, she's on it. Drawing from her experience of raising a small human and caring for her grandmother, not to mention keen observances of the human condition, Magpie pokes our tender, bruised, and broken places with courage and grace. So what about this wine? At first, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this is an odd match. Rigmarole rosé is described as, quote, invoking a menagerie of pink dolphins and flamingos. Yeah, and maybe those too. Chock full of the fanciful and the big, and big on the outlandish. Now, when I think of Magpie's work, neither flamingos nor dolphins come to mind, but I do note that Magpie offered a poem in the guise of a mayoral campaign speech in Nelson's own city council. And one could say that the notion of a world in which housing was affordable was unfortunately fanciful, and perhaps even outlandish, but definitely inspiring. And then there's this. Rigmarole rosé is described as juicy with hints of cranberry and a dry finish. The words of Magpie Ulysses are juicy with hints of criticism and a dry wit. And as for that gentle fermentation, those sweet words and those warm hearts bear with me. Magpie's collection of prose poems based on her extensive hitchhiking experiences as a young woman became a performance piece entitled Past Presence Pleiotropy, did I say that right? And the Impossible Cycle of Being. The music for that piece is by a certain Kootenai musician who, it turns out, is a collaborator in both art and life. So I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine a moment in which these two people meet. Imagine the pop of a cork followed by a soft cascade of a sunset-hued rosé crafted from the perfect blend of Merlot, Cabernet Franc, and Shiraz. Might there have been warm hearts, sweet words, perhaps later the raising of a small human? Might a dolphin-infused rosé have been in the right place at the right time? Could that be the connection? There's more. Magpie, I'm reaching, I know. Magpie has performed internationally and across Canada. Rigmarole rosé has been around the block a few times, I'd wager, as rigmarole tends to be, ubiquitous in art, life, and tonight in your glasses. While you are sampling this dolphin and flamingo libation, I ask that you listen to the words of Magpie Ulysses and see if she doesn't, quite brilliantly, cut through the rigmarole. Please raise your glass to Magpie Ulysses.
So generous. Hi. Hi. I haven't been on stage, like in my whole body, in front of people for a few years, but here we are. And I'm really glad to be here. It's an honor and a privilege to be here always. And it's always an honor and a privilege to be in Nelson, which is ultimately my home. And I'm so thankful to see some of you in the audience who I know so well tonight. And it's a pleasure to share the stage with these two other brilliant artists who I got to maybe grow up a little bit aside, who've inspired me to no end. I thought I would just give a little shout out to summer. Yeah, hey, maybe. I've been living on the island, and it's just been pouring rain, and it's been pouring rain here, and finally, apparently, we're going swimming tomorrow in the lake. I am, if anybody wants to join me tomorrow afternoon. So I just thought maybe we could just go there together and really be there together. And I was just thinking about Ellen really led into this space, and I think it's probably the right thing to say right now, just the summer and really feeling the love of that natural world around us. So if you want to close your eyes, you can. If you just want to put your feet to the earth, you can. If you want to stare at my pants, I don't know what they look like anymore. I hope I look good from here up. I feel all right. Thee is small breasts, and they are strong legs and breath, naked in the garden, feet narrowed into the deep black grooves between the rows of velveteen brassicas, the sweet pinching smell of the tomato stalks, raspberries and leaves stake deep into the dark, rich soil of worms. And the sun is hot on our backs, and we do not fear the bees because they hang in the air like dust when the breeze ceases. And the light comes through the orchards, and the ant trails are napping, and the compost is returning to earth. And we are no longer the seeds that came in. We are outlines, soft freckles, scars, and we touch soft paradise, hard teeth with tongues, hard tongues with skin, bursting from our casings, sublime sun, sauna, our bodies damp with summer. Mouths complex and dynamically intertwined into that early story of all things shoots and soil. That was the right place to go. Maybe good with your rosé too. It's true, it wasn't rosé. It was whiskey. When I met my husband, it was whiskey. He was young. We have this joke because one of the first meals he made for me was a trout. He showed up at my apartment with a trout. And he had gone, he was at the store. I was living in Victoria at the time, working on a degree, and he goes up to the guy. He wants to know it's a good trout. He wants to know it's not a farmed trout. So instead of asking, is it a farm trout, he asks the guy behind the counter, this big dude, where is this trout from? And the guy just says, Souk. So anyway, speaking of that, because it's really funny, the way, when we met, nothing was very serious or light or at all. It was quite heavy and hot, and now we have a 6-year-old. So, and I spent 2 years in Ontario while James was working on a landscape architecture degree, and we had a really hard time there. And this poem is a little bit about that because I say he got a degree and I raised a child who I'm still raising because there was a yeah, we're not gonna, yeah. So I just thought this piece was the right piece to read to all of you, and maybe it'll resonate a little bit in this space. It's called, I'm sorry, is it 1978? I think I need to call my mother. 1, what is your occupation? I'm a stay-at-home parent. Oh, okay, but what do you do as a job? Well, I'm a writer and a performing artist. Oh, okay, great. Are you writing a book? Well, not exactly, no, not right now. Oh, right, because of the car accident. Well, no, because I'm a stay-at-home parent. I know the doctor's trying to be helpful. She's trying to fit a life that doesn't fit into boxes and never has, into the check boxes on the forms for the insurance company. I'm not a stranger to this. It used to be that my life as an artist was without value. They'd say, oh, okay, but how do you make money? I'm used to being undervalued by capitalism, but not by an identity. After my 3rd conversation like this, I just stopped saying I'm a stay-at-home parent, even though I legitimately am the only caregiver to my child other than my husband, even though I find 40 minutes a week to write, and the other hundreds are spent playing with blocks and making snacks and wiping a bum and doing laundry and dressing and undressing and dressing and undressing and dressing and undressing and dressing and undressing and undressing and walking with and carrying a child. I used to joke with my mom about this. I thought it was funny. I would thank her generation's feminism for the opportunity to work all day, and then I get to come home and work all night too. Ha fucking ha. So funny. But now I don't go home. I am home. I don't leave home. I am home all the time. I know every single catch in the carpet. I know every single hatch mark on the steps to the basement. I know which towels need to be washed and which ones need to be put away. I know the intimate life cycles of the kitchen spiders, when their webs will be due to be vacuumed, which ones have to be put outside. I haven't peed alone in months. My mind diminishing. It's a list of chores, a snack schedule, an argument again about diapers. And when I get a minute with my own mind one day, I think of something some asshole boyfriend said to me one time. Homemaker, better than a home wrecker. It's not better. It's not anything other than the patriarchy's preoccupation with tying women to stoves one way or another. And one afternoon, while I watch the toddler flail in the living room because they don't want to put their boots on, I stare at the kitchen sink full of dishes, looking out at the courtyard, and whisper to myself, Sylvia Plath didn't stick her head in an oven because she was a distressed artist with a cheating husband and unchecked mental illness. No, Sylvia Plath stuck her head in the oven because she was a stay-at-home mom. Everyone says that when he is older, I will be thankful for this time. Everyone says I should really write more. Everyone says I deserve a break. Everyone says it's hard to stay at home with little people. Everyone says I would regret working for minimum wage instead. Everyone says my job is important, but it isn't really a job. I mean, come on. Everyone says I should get a job on the weekend. Everyone is surprised I'm a writer. Everyone says, oh, you need to get back to yourself. You need to reconnect. You need life balance. You should go to the gym. You cannot know every intimate corner of the rug, every single view out the front of your townhouse, depending on the season, with every single neighbor and what they do all day, every day, all day long. Nobody wants to know that. Women go crazy if they stay at home all day with a toddler. You need to get out of the house. Women stop speaking in full sentences. They only speak in Raffi quotes. They can only count to 10, and you'll never get a real job again. All right.
But is she dinner? No.
Oh, dinner. Forget dinner. Had it with dinner. Who else has had it with dinner? Yeah. Pandemic. Holy dinner. I mean, you should have saved your dead sourdough. It's good hooch. It's like free liquor. I did not taste mine, but I also killed my star. You murdered it. Yeah, we all murdered it. Murderers. And on that note, I wrote this poem in 2008. I want to stop saying this poem. I wanted to stop saying this poem. I thought I would stop saying this poem. I thought, oh, I don't need to say this poem anymore. Everyone gets it. But I don't know if we do. I see a town here full of cars. Wow, that car poem was mind-blowing, because it's really true. I love to drive. I love to go places. I can't believe how much traffic there is in Nelson right now. I haven't been every time I come back, it's like a little bit more. I don't know if we're finding the answer. This is just a call to arms to ask you to come with me and to remember that we all came from someplace, and that place was the original place. And now we are all still here together. And it seems like it's like we're all together. We're all here together. I had a man swear at me because I asked him to put his mask on the airplane today. And I just wanted to look at him and be like, because we're all in this together, right? I don't know if we've learned a damn thing. Yeah. Every morning in Vancouver, I'd step onto my front porch to see cranes in construction obscuring my view of mountain lions. And this, I would continually tell myself, is just the price you have to pay for living in a myth of progress. But sometimes I'd search False Creek for a promise that the sun will always set, that the murderers will still fly east in the evening. And most days it'd say, come on, lady, really? I'm a man-made body of water lapping on an old indie track in a casino. I don't make promises. And so I'd shut my mouth and return to sleep where my children that I didn't have yet danced safely with bats in wet caves on dark Sombrio nights. You see, there's a lot of stories. There's one story that says that I was made from a man's rib. Yeah. There's another story that says that some water lapped up on some lava rocks mixed with noxious gases turned into fat droplets, and out of the sea we crawled. And I don't know about either of those stories, but I do know that there are a lot of stories that say that in the beginning we stole fire. And then we made tools to steal skins. And now we speak with stolen breaths of stolen air, living captive under some fire giant sword coming to burn our village down. We don't need symbolism to say that everything we touch dies. We are walking combines, wearing ropes made of sealskins, hauling nets, casting steel cages to house the hope we once had in hypothesis. And now that fire and those tools are fusing our skins to the frame, and one drum beats solo. Watch them. They are who you are. Tired mothers home on commuter trains from suburban factories. Families traversing garbage dumps for old batteries, men with broken hands and stolen pride. We aren't living in a joke, my friends. No, we are the joke. We're walking home in old shoes down a dusty road where the trickster's never gonna come. And yet these men in their suits, they bait us like bugs with promises of solution. While discoveries still wait in the wings of the fruit fly, not so very far off from our own double helix, they build a bunker where they capture stardust to study so they can tame it, cage it, and never let it go. But there is no magic. There is no magic bean, there's only a wolf. And my, what big eyes, ears, mouth you have. You see, we'll all beat our swords into plowshares, and then what? You see, we bury paradise every time we murder a woodcutter. And now the land is Gandhi and Jesus and Weewa and Fosse, and we are Rasputin and 50 Cent. We're spinning folk tales about the virtues of being repeatedly shot and still standing, but we are drowning in our own glacial melt. We are piss in the picnic pit, soap bubbles in the river, cholera in the watershed, naked and tied to the bed of postmodernism, stuffing our tongues so far down our throats, all we can do is moan while we suffocate on the broken promise stolen fire bought us. And now Harriet is dead. And Latin is dead. And Darwin gets to live on. Well, his Galapagos sink into the bottom of an ocean we have never seen because we are too busy taking pictures of Mars. We are 8 billion people jumping out of a burning building who can't hear themselves scream. So breathe in. There is carbon in the sky. Breathe in. Can you taste the old growth burning? Breathe in. Number 7, plastics are building homes for the poor. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, because bees and butterflies and bats can't find their way home. But you, my dragon people, your tongues are a great euphony of fire. So pull them from the back of your throats and spit your hot lava over those who would try and make this pageant so. Thank you. Yeah, have another drink. Have another drink. God, I want to stop saying that poem. Okay. I have a couple more pieces for you. This is a brand new piece. I've only read it once. Well, actually, I read it twice because the hybrid camera cut out in the middle of my first performance, so I read it twice. I wrote it for an event. There's an event in Vancouver called Mash Poetics, where a band learns an entire album, and then they give poets or writers or anybody a song from the album that you write sort of around. So this was in April, and the song was Poison. You know the band Poison? Yeah, it was a glam rock night. And it was nothing but a good time. Well, you can imagine how that went over for me. This poem is for Jeff Bezos. I was mowing the lawn the other day, and I thought, I really want to go fishing. Like, I really want to go fish. I really want to go bomb fishing. Yeah, do you know what bomb fishing is? Oh, well, you can imagine. It's illegal, and it's very illegal. Yeah, you just throw it, but Bonnie's done it. Bonnie knows. It's illegal now. You throw a bomb, and all the fish come up, and then you just take what you want. You can imagine how that's... Yeah, okay, well, go. You have the internet in your pocket. You can look it up. Don't. I was mowing the lawn, anyway, and I thought, I want to go fishing. Like, I want to go bomb fishing. Yeah, I want to go bomb fishing for billionaires. Yeah, this late-stage capitalist slop really slaps, like an award show full of millionaires, like a Bali swing, which I'm going to get on one day as soon as my yacht fits under all those bridges. I mean, what could be better than this? Huh? Yeah, I know. I also want wine and women, weed and heroin, free medication and drugs that aren't poison. I want avocado toast and housing, free daycare and homeschooling, self-care and craft beer, abolition and safe walks, ancient forests and soft toilet paper, fast delivery and unionized pigeons to deliver it. I want to be gay like this and do crimes like that. I want to be ungovernable. I want to unbuckle the hoarders from their fuse boxes full of junk, if it's still available. Let's just keep passing around the same $20. I know. You're like, Magpie, you don't have any money. You spent it all on somebody else's mortgage. Is everybody having a good time? Because I promise it'll get better than this. One day you'll look back on these hard times and reminisce and think, at least your generation has little free libraries. What's better than this? Well, universal basic income for one thing, but I promise it's bomb fishing. So much less blood than a guillotine. Even the vegetarians won't mind. It'll be nothing but a good time, living above the basement suite of the law, doing whatever the fuck we want, destroying everything for money, just like they would, just like they have, just like this. What a little redistribution could do. We're going bomb fishing for billionaires, for our bread and our roses, too. Okay. I did that in full makeup with giant hair. And I was sitting in my office with my laptop stacked on my books. My 6-year-old comes in, he's like, Mama, are you doing poems? I was like, I'm a blue-eyed. Okay, anyway. It's coming along. Part of my process is always to be in front of an audience. And part of, I write for the page, but that's other stuff. That's other work. And part of my creation process is to be here with you, to make these poems with you in this space. So thank you so much for being here. To do that with me is a huge gift, to be in front of a room of people with my poems. Yeah. And this is why everything's awesome, just like you. You're awesome. I can't wait to, Bill, are you holding on to my wine? Did you give it? Hi, beautiful. You didn't give it away. Okay, thank you. I'll be back for it. The best part about the rosé is that it actually got mixed with Ellen's wine in my glass. So that's just how it is, I guess. It's how it is. I told them, if something's gonna go wrong, it'll be me. Science tells me that every year we exchange 98% of our atoms with the universe. And I don't know if it's true, but if it is, that means we could be anything. So make me a pigeon, a batfish, a cactus finch, an a strangler fig. Make me cyanobacteria and bioluminescence, diatoms and viruses, lichens, cleaner fish, the bird friends of hippopotamus. I want to be a complex structure living symbiotically within your bodies. Yeah, make me a really good mystery, like something even creation science can't explain. Yeah, or make me something that no one wants to have to explain, like glaciers, growlers, uranium mines, unwanted pipelines, or make me something that needs no more explanation. I don't know, like microfleece or pajamas with feet, the 2% less to be a chimpanzee, and coffee. Make me lots of coffee, and coca leaves and banyan trees, mycelium and parakeets. Make me everybody's favorite pair of jeans and a band no one else has ever heard of. I want to be all the broken umbrellas on West Coast streets. And don't make me live on the West Coast anymore. No, don't make me live anywhere anymore. Let me be the weather, and then I will keep summer under my armpit and give everyone a little shine whenever I feel like it. Yeah, make me something like that, an agitation, like an eco-pirate, like Farley Mowat. Make me something delightful. My friend R.C. Waslowski's huge laughter, the books he keeps in his kitchen cupboards. Yeah, make me a novel, make me a collection. A prairie dog's den, a city rat's nook, a whiskey jack's nest. Or make me one pebble in the gravel pit. Or make me something dangerous. The teeth in the saw, the tip of the harpoon, the beer in the frat boy's bloodstream, the heroin in the flap. And when you're done with that, universe. I'm not very impressed with the way people in charge are running things these days. So let me manage our resources. We will be oxidizing pockets of fury, willing and ready to envelope simple, curiously divine molecules, and then exploit them from something hotter than the magma we came from. Just let us all vibrate at a higher frequency next time. Let our remaining 2% always be the best 2%, and don't let us be strangers anymore. Just look at all the things we have. Just look at all the things we are. Just look at you. You should look at each other. Yeah, look at each other. Yeah. Yeah, look at each other. Yeah. Just look at me. Turn your face towards me, mine when the clouds begin to part. I love you, and I want to transfer atoms when the wind blows. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for inviting me here. Especially to Tony for just taking a little chance at a gathering last fall. Yeah, thanks.
We love having Anna MC events. She's just awesome. So thank you, Anna, for, where is she? Oh, she's getting a glass of wine. She's not paying attention, but we love her. Thank you, Anna. Okay. The oeuvre of Lucas Myers is rich and flavorful and peppered with fresh takes on all of our insecurities, from home improvement to parenting. With Lucas, we've laughed our way from roof to deck and, for the renovation challenge, to campground. We traveled with East, we took risks with dress, and we even had a baby. More recently, we navigated COVID with the Cremoli brothers, and if I ever have to navigate another pandemic, I want to do it with those guys. Well, devilishly funny, this playwright and actor is so much more than a pretty face with a quick wit. His work, and I want you to remember these words, his work is deep, say it, deep, nuanced, and complex. So his work is as deep, nuanced, and complex as a fine wine at a literary festival. Now, Skimmerhorn's Devil's Chair is a deep blend of Pinot Noir and Maréchal Foch, featuring the aromatic nuance of berries, dark chocolate, and black pepper, with the complex, you're so good, flavors of blackcurrant, eucalyptus, plum, and the ripe strawberry on the palate. While his wine is billed as dark, sultry, and devilishly seductive, I'm not sure that Randy from Creston would agree, but he's more of a kokanee guy. Lucas graduated from the National Theatre School in 1998 and has since performed in major theatres across Canada and toured internationally to the US, England, France, Switzerland, Mexico, Singapore, New Zealand, and Brunei. The wine we are toasting, Lucas with this evening, traveled from Creston, where it may or may not have encountered Randy. Upon returning home in 2007, Lucas started a family and a company, Pilot Co-Pilot, which brought us all those devilishly seductive one-man shows. Some of these have featured partial nudity, not to mention power tools. There are a lot of us who would find that combo seductive. Lucas championed literacy with his children's show, Captain Future Saves the Word. And so I ask you, what literary festival would not want this artist? Indeed, both wine and artist are winners. Skimmerhorn took home the gold in the All-Canadian Wine Championships in 2013, the same year Lucas was appointed as Nelson's cultural ambassador in recognition for his achievements in theater arts. Devil's Chair took silver in the Tasters Guild International Wine Competition, and the amazing and impermeable Cremoli brothers won the Best Comedy Award at the New Zealand International Theatre Festival. And with that, I'd say it's time to get devilish. Please join me in raising a glass to Lucas Myers. To Lucas.
Props. That's what happens when you bring an actor to a literary festival. Props. This is really delightful. It's an honor, and I'm humbled to share a stage with Magpie and Ellen tonight. Such incredible work, such deep words. Deep, what was it? Deep, nuanced? Yeah. Thank you. I'm not going to try and do poems or spoken word, because that's not my wheelhouse. In fact, seeing all of your faces very well lit right now is deeply, deeply disconcerting, because my natural habitat is a dark room with the lights just on me. And normally I can't see anybody. So this is super freaky. I also haven't, this is my first performance in Nelson since February 21st, 2020. Wow. Not that I'm keeping track or anything. And so I'm going to kind of lean into the storytelling aspect of tonight and share something with you. This is the story of COVID and the funny man. When you move to a small town and start to write and perform your own one-person shows, two things happen. At some point, and I think it was actually pretty early on, a local newspaper person, and I think it was Bob Hall, will refer to you in an article as local funny man, Lucas Myers. Now, to be fair, this is not a misnomer, as you are local, and the shows that you perform do skew towards the comedic side of the spectrum. This moniker will stick. To wit, on Friday, June 24th, today, the storytelling Speakeasy, which is where we are right now, pairs BC wines and performers, each with their own approach to spoken word. Local funny man, Lucas Myers. Rabble-rouser and fancy talker, Magpie Ulysses, and Nelson Poetry Slam winner, Ellen Burt. Now, to be clear, I don't mind being saddled with this label. But there is a part of me that's just kind of like, because, yes, I feel my performances are more than just funny. I try and explore the aspects of the human condition by using humor to initially access the audience. And I realize that it's much easier to write in an article or a news story, local funny man, Lucas Myers, than it is to local explorer of the human condition who uses humor to access audience, Lucas Myers. But then, March 15th, 2020, all of this became moot because all of it went away. What a beautiful face I had found in this place that is circling all around the sun. What a beautiful dream that can flash on the stage in the blink of an eye and be gone from me. Soft and sweet, let me hold it close and keep it here. Let me. For the first time in my adult life, I couldn't be that which I had always defined myself as, that which everyone else had defined me as, local funny man. I no longer had the opportunity to summon the mystery of a live performance, that tacit agreement between performer and audience, what Magpie talked about with her poems having to have people here in the room, the alchemy of empty space to charged atmosphere, something from nothing. I finish a show drained but complete, actualized, of purpose. And this is important, I always assumed that if I went too long without performing, without fulfilling my purpose, without being able to ignite all that coiled, built-up manic energy that I believed was inside me, I would go nuts. I would simply start to whir internally, incessantly, and reach such ridiculous states of spin that I would simply break apart in a shower of sparks. And one day we will die, and our ashes will fly from the aeroplane over the sea. But for now we are young, let us lie in the sun and count every beautiful thing we can see. Love to be in the arms of all I'm keeping here with me. So imagine my surprise when 1 year goes by, no sparks, no whir. Well, some were, but not to the degree that I expected. And then another year goes by. And then, of course, the concern becomes A, what if I can't do it when I try to do it? Or, more terrifyingly, B, what if I never should have been doing it in the first place? Because there was a part of me that liked not doing it. And this is hard to admit, because there are a lot of not fun parts of doing it. I'm still talking about theater. How it disappears me from my family for the month before a new show goes up. How for the week leading up to a performance, I am a compressed packet of anxiety and absence, my entire being distracted by the churning concerns. Will the audience get it? Will I be able to pull it off? Will I remember the words? Will I remember all the props? Will my voice hold up? I really should be doing vocal exercises every day. Paper, poppy, paper, poppy, paper, poppy, paper, poppy, paper, poppy, paper. That stress doesn't feel like good stress, and it certainly isn't conducive to a healthy home environment. What if this pandemic-enforced sabbatical reveals that I never should have been an actor in the first place, that it's all been an exercise in doing something because Mr. Wilson discovered theater sports and brought it into grade 8 drama class at Trafalgar? And people laughed at my amoeba man, and that felt so good. I just kept doing it, and my wife and family are just willing to continue enabling it. But I'm actually supposed to be doing something else entirely. What a curious life we have found here tonight. There is music that sounds from the street. There are lights in the clouds, ghosts all around. Hear the voice as it's rolling and ringing through me. Soft and sweet, how the notes all bend and reach out to the trees. Then I had a realization / revelation. Thank God. I realized, revelated? I don't know. That I was caught in an assumption that I had to keep creating theater or finding opportunities to perform to be a whole person. That it was required. And to be honest, this is not a bad assumption to function under when you're making theater, because it takes a lot of commitment to make this shit work. But when I wasn't allowed to do it anymore, it revealed to me who I was aside from local funny man, Lucas Myers. I was also raising kids, Lucas Myers, being part of a family, Lucas Myers, sharing these unprecedented times with an incredible life partner, Lucas Myers, going for bike rides, Lucas Myers, being a semi-competent backcountry skier, Lucas Myers. COVID revealed these other purposes, the ones that I hadn't even noticed with my funny man fixation. And as much as a part of me was still, and it possibly always will be, slightly panicking about not doing theater, another part of me relaxed. I'll do theater again, but the difference is that now it's a decision, not a compulsion, to engage in the transformation. Now how I remember you, how I would push my fingers through this mouth to make those muscles move, to make that voice so smooth and sweet. But now we keep where we don't know, our secrets sleep in winter clothes with one you loved so long ago. Now we don't even know the name. I know there are some people here tonight that are thinking, he said there were two things that happen when you do one-man shows. God bless you. I love the detail people. So the other thing that happens when you do one-person shows for 15 years in a small community is that every once in a while you'll have, during an innocuous conversation in a grocery store, people will say, oh, I better be careful, or this is going to end up in one of your shows. Yeah, I'm not sure if this discussion about keratin is really going to be front and center. Or if I'm involved in a specific activity, like doing my practicum to become an education assistant, because the other thing COVID taught me is that, CERB notwithstanding, it's time to have a backup plan. People will say, oh, I know what your next show is going to be about. Yeah, I'm not sure if adventures in education assistance is going to be a real draw. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You guys, is that something you want to see? Yeah, okay. Keith, for you. I'll do it for you. Or during a global pandemic that causes 6 million people to die and many more to be permanently affected, and the global economy to shudder, and important things like the environment to be sidelined and cracks to form in the foundation of our social structure through divisiveness, mistrust, conspiratorial madness, while we just try and get through. Oh, I bet there's some great material here. No, there isn't. There's nothing funny about this. And yet, the irony, God damn it. I'm still not sure what irony is. I had to look it up when I was writing this. And in my defense, the website, it was like lit.com, which is like literature.com, not like it's lit.com. It did say that it's a very broad term, and there's like 3 different kinds of it. There's like literary irony, and I can't remember the other 2 right now. But situational, yeah, there we go. Situational and what else? And dramatic. Situational, dramatic, and I think literary? Good. Nice. See, I knew. So I knew I'd be corrected by somebody in here. Fucking literary festival. But anyways, I'm just gonna be confident about it and say it's ironic. The irony about this is that for all my resistance to seeing the lighter side of COVID and my internal eye rolls at all of these people making these comments, is what is the first new thing that I create for an audience post-shutdown? How COVID affects my perception of my life. So, congratulations. You were right, all of you who said that to me on the street or in the grocery store. Yes, there was material there. But I still feel weird about talking about the positive effects of COVID. And then I figured it out. It's because I can't help it. I've never admitted this in public before. My name is Lucas Myers, and I'm a reflexive optimist. I had to look that up too, actually, just to make sure I wasn't saying I was an optimist that, light bounced off of. Knee-jerk positivism is my default. I'm the asshole who's always banging on about the silver lining because it's how I cope. And it's how I coped with this shutdown. Of my perceived purpose was to allow the realization of my other purposes, their value, that I can feel a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment in them too. To be able to step back and recognize how finite the time is that I have with my daughters. One is 15, the other is 13, how important these are to be present for. And then this incredible thing happened this morning. I was in bed, I was on my phone, but I was reading an article from The Guardian, so it was like highbrow scrolling. But I did find the article on Facebook, but Bill Metcalf posted it, so... And it was an interview with Herbie Hancock, who we all know as an incredible jazz musician who's like 108 years old, and still touring, of course. And literally the first paragraph, he talked about how he could have been really upset about not being able to tour during COVID, but he said he could have dinner with his wife and sleep in his own bed. And then he said this, which just basically encapsulates everything I've said, and I could have done it in like 30 seconds instead of 50 minutes. But I just couldn't believe I found it this morning. He said, "Music is what I do, not who I am." Because you know what? I realize the funny man's always going to be there, right? He'll be in the wings. I don't know what side. Maybe Anna knows. Always ready to come out into the light. You'll all be in the dark. And he'll jump around for your entertainment and, yes, my total relief and fulfillment. I'm actually planning a Cromali Brothers tour this fall to all the small halls in the area. God damn it, I was going to try and get this through this without a plug, but, it's late September into October. What a beautiful face I have found in this place that is circling all round the sun. When we meet on a cloud, I'll be laughing out loud. I'll be laughing at everything I see. Can't believe what it means to be anything at all. Thank you. Thanks so much to Robin Lamb for getting in touch, and Anne for the great wine pairing, and Anna and all of you for coming out. And have a great night.
Thank you so much, Lucas and Magpie and Ellen and Anne. We would like to thank our sponsors who make the festival possible: the City of Nelson, the BC Arts Council, BC Gaming, the RDCK, Columbia Basin Trust, SFU, notably a Book Lovers Emporium, and Nelson Kootenay Lake Tourism. Thanks to the Nelson Star for their ongoing support. Thanks to our venues, the Prestige, the Nelson Public Library, and the Nelson United Church for hosting the workshops and Blue Pencil sessions. Thank you to all of our volunteers, to the community for so much goodwill, to all of you for joining us this evening. And please join us for the rest of our events this weekend. Tomorrow we have two fantastic panels, Writing on the Wall and Other Creative Rebellions at 12:30, and the past present, and future walk into a bar. That's at 2 p.m. Happy hour / open mic for our workshop students at 4:30 p.m. at Port 701 Lounge here at the Prestige. And our all-star reading tomorrow night with Angie Abdu, Shayna Lambert, Tom Wayman, Suzanne Simard, 7:30 p.m. right here. There are schedules for the weekend at the door, right there at that table there. And check out the fabulous book table for books by our featured authors. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody.